And hello everyone, welcome back to another Tkinter tutorial. So, in case you have not been following along with this course, let me just go through everything. First we import Tkinter, then we create root, which is just basically referencing TK here, so we can replace all of this with TK if we wanted to, because that's perfectly fine. But since it's kind of a mess to type a capital T and then two brackets at the end, it's just kind of annoying. We just say root because it also just makes it easier to kind of keep track of our windows. And that's what we'll be talking about today. But before I get to that, let me just finish here. Then we give our window a title, and here we have our loop. So this just runs the application until the user quits it. Cool. Now today we'll be talking about windows, and that's where these would become really useful because it allows us to just make things simpler for ourselves. Okay, so let's start with creating our own little new window here. So I'm going to call this window 2. You can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to say window 2 to keep it simple for myself. I'm going to make that equal to top level. And top level is basically saying, hey, create another window. Because here we have TK, but TK basically means create the application. And with that, it also says, okay, create a window. So that's a 2-in-1. Saying TK means create the application, the whole application, and create a window. Problem with this is you can only have one TK in your program. So that's the difference. Top level will allow you to create more windows on top of your already existing program. Let's get started. So you can have as many top levels as you want. This will just create more windows. So unlike with TK, where you can only have one window with TK and one application. That's all. With top level, you can have your application, which is TK, and then you can have your window, which is top level. Okay. Now we can also do the same thing as with normal windows. We can say window 2 dot title. I think it's perfectly fine. Secondary window. So it's just the window title, nothing special. It's just basically this right there, the title. Cool. And take note, this is still above root mainly because it's still part of the application. So yeah, there we created our window. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to go to terminal. I'm going to say new terminal. And I'm going to bring the terminal up here. And I'm also going to just move the terminal to the right so it's simpler for me to use. And what's this? Why is that there? Can I delete it? There we go. Cool. I'm going to say Python and I'm going to run my file. And whoa. There's sudo pacman-s tk. There we go. And as simple as that, we have installed Tkinter. Linux will always be the #1 operating system for me. Just so simple to do things. Now that we have done it, we can just say Python and main.py. Here we go. Now we have 2 windows. And you'll notice I also have this little thing here. You won't have that. It's just I'm using a new Linux version or new Linux distro, which uses XFCE as its desktop environment, which is it allows us to do that. So this is just something my operating system can do. And if you're on Windows or a different desktop environment on Linux, you can't do that. Unless you probably implement it. But yeah, so now we have 2 windows. It's as simple as that. So we have our main window and we have our secondary window. This is, of course, our main application here. This is the TK. Whilst this one right here, this is this window we're creating here. Cool. So that's neat and all, but what if you wanted to open up the window once we click a button? Well, that's fairly simple. I'm going to add a button to my root window. So I'm just going to say button, because it doesn't really matter that the button is placed inside a variable or anything like that. I'm just going to do this for quick, everything. And I'm going to say text is equal to open window. And here we can say command is equal to open window. There we go. Now here I'm going to say define open window. Right. And now I can just boom. You'll notice that I use camel case here, and here I use snake case or underscores. The reason I do this is just personal preference, because I find it so much easier to use my functions with camel case, because then I know this is a function because it uses camel case, and my variables with underscores, because then I know this is a variable because it uses an underscore. It just helps me keep things in check. It is completely optional. Most people would say you shouldn't mix them together like this. I just do it because that's how I prefer it. Anyhow, so here we go. And now that is about all there is to this. Save this. Now when we click this button, it's going to pop up a new, and I forgot to say pack. There we go, just .pack. Okay, there we go. Now if we click this button, it will open up a new window. So it's plop, and now we have a window. Plop, now we have another window. Plop, another window. So we can have as many windows as we want. So that's pretty neat. So, what if we wanted to put something on this window, just like we would do with the normal window? Like if we want to put something on root, it's as simple as doing this right here. Well, if we wanted to do it, all we can do is we can just say, I'm not going to put this as a variable, but you can. I'm just not doing it because why should I? So we can just do like we usually would do, but this time instead of saying root, we give our name of our window. So take note, this is why we did this at the start. Not just because it's more comfortable, but because it also gets you into that notion of putting a window inside of a variable. Because here it's actually quite mandatory to do that. Because now it won't try and create new windows every time it tries to put something on the window, because you've already put it inside of a variable. So yeah. Anyhow, and then here we can just say text is equal another window. There we go. That's pretty neat. Now if we save this and run it, now you say open window, and we forgot to pack it once again. Oh my gosh, .pack. There we go. You can of course grid as well. Gridding is supported. Everything that's supported on this window here is supported on this window here. If I could just kind of resize it a bit. There we go. There, another window. So yeah, everything that's on here is supported on here, and vice versa. So these two are both basically the same. It's just this one is a top level and this one is the actual application, which means if I'm going to close this window, because this is the main application, it's going to close both of these as well. That's the difference. TK will close all of its children, all of its running components, while this one won't. If I click there, it's the only one that closes. This one at the bottom is still here, as you can see. If I click here, then here we have another one. And we can also move this one maybe like here. Now if I were to close this main window right here, then everything will close and my application will end. Because TK, as I said before, is the process. It creates the application and a window to go with it. You don't use it to create multiple windows. You create it, or use it to create multiple one application. Well, with top level, you can use this to create multiple windows, but these windows only exist within this app. So once you close the app, it's going to close those windows with the app. But because these windows are just a component of the app, if you close a window here, it's not going to finish up the app. The app's still going to run like it normally would. And yeah, that is Windows and Tkinter. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all again in the next Tkinter tutorial.